This is sad news. We have a guy who was an artist for Disney, and he went absolutely off of the deep end. This was tweeted out August 22nd by Tune_emu or emo on Twitter. And emo writes, "Hey, so this guy at Anime NYC just blatantly lied to me about not using Gen AI in his work, then scammed my mom off of several $100s in prints." Disney has been a magical IP for so many people, and then to have these like scammy artists steal and like scam people. So this is the artist in question. His name is James Mulligan. He also goes by the name Jimmy Mulligan. This was his banner at Anime NYC. This is one of his works. Now, don't send hate to any parties involved. Why is this AI, you ask? Well, take a peep at the background real quick. I know this is a canvas, okay, but this looks to be a canvas print. Either that or some bro referenced AI and then painted it directly, like pixel for pixel onto the canvas, which is stupid. The chair is really off in the background here, like super wonky and wobbly. But take a look at this bookshelf, okay? It looks like the bookshelf is bending in and out of the fabric of the universe, okay? That's Anna is sitting in. What is happening? Like, these books are melting into the bottom shelf of the bookshelf. Look at these books, more melting books, and then the ladder also is connecting into the bookshelf. Not to mention, again, turbo, like wobbly in and out. This is most definitely AI. If you want to argue that Anna is not AI, right, in the front, the background definitely is. And to seal the deal a little bit more, these are more examples of his work. Pulled this off Reddit because I'm pretty sure this is deleted now. Left is his artwork of Dumbo. This art piece, to me, looks pretty legitimate, right? The right is his art piece of Rapunzel. Looking a little more suspicious here. Rapunzel, what's happening to the crisscross and detailing on your dress? What is this? What is the nodding? Emu continues. I asked him what his process was like and if he used Gen AI or not. And he said he didn't. But I was looking for AI because it's like an industry witch hunt to ruin people's careers. He told me he used Procreate, the same software as me, and showed me his tablet. He pulled up the layers, which obviously showed he drew the character, but the background was a copy and pasted image on the bottom layer. I then asked him if I could see the time-lapse replay, but he told me he didn't record one. I have made over 700 illustrations using Procreate, so I know for a fact it automatically saves a time-lapse replay. You're telling me you are a professional artist for Disney and you work in Procreate as your primary medium, and you conveniently don't know where to find the time-lapse recording / you don't have it? Do you think Emu is stupid? Emu continues, I told him this and offered to show him how to access them. He then got mad at me and told me to leave. I got into a bad fight with my mom about it after, since he tricked her into thinking his process was all his own, and that he didn't use Gen AI, and that's so sad. He got the mom, guys. Apparently, I'm the second person to bring this up, even though the con just started, since Gen AI is strictly against the rules for vendors. Shout out to Stacy at the help desk for being absolutely lovely. I am so incredibly disappointed that somebody working for such a large and artistically talented company would stoop so low as to blatantly lie to their customers. I was almost gaslit by him into thinking he wasn't using AI. If he would have told me that, quote, I use some Gen AI in designing my backgrounds, but the character art is mine, end quote, then I would have been fine, because that's the truth. But he didn't say that at all and instead blatantly lied to me and my mom. I struggle with severe social anxiety, so this entire interaction left a sour taste in my mouth. I urge Disney Lorcana and Anime NYC and any other people who may have had similar experiences to make some noise about this. So Emo continues, if by some insane miracle he is not lying and is actually not lying about this, then I would love to see a time-lapse sketch or literally any proof that he's not incorporating Gen AI into his work like he says. He's right about one thing. This is a witch hunt. Except in this case, the witches aren't practicing magic. They're lying, scheming, and stealing from the real magic that is human-made art. Okay, hold up. That's a bar right there. I'm sorry for any spelling mistakes or lazy writing in this. I'm not used to making threads and I'm very tired. Shout out to all the lovely people at Anime NYC and to everyone who's helped me out. Emu had added some extra context where they tried looking up James's profile and their profile didn't exist, but then it turns out that James seemed to have blocked Emu on their social media pages. So this is his Instagram. He has 88,000 followers. By the way, don't send hate to him, okay? If you think it's AI generated, don't purchase it. If you scroll his page, he has a lot of Disney works. Another art piece example of Ariel and Rapunzel sitting in the Haunted Mansion ride. More of his works, Dumbo, etc. But what is interesting is he deleted some pieces. So here's another commenter under the original thread by the name Yuan on Twitter or Neo Lucky. And they write, this is so rough. Dude, it's crazy obvious too. You can tell where he uses it versus his own stuff, especially when it's overly rendered and rimlit. The Snow White is dead on just Gen AI. So this is a Snow White piece James or Jimmy posted December 21st, 2024, and this has now been deleted off of their Instagram page. What in the absolute AI atrocity is this? Snow White's costume is very iconic, and you're telling me an artist who has made art for Disney, including Lorcana cards, couldn't get her outfit correct? This is not how the shoulder piece of her dress looks like. Not to mention we have trees melting into more trees in the background, but the hand looks really off relative to the rest of her body. Like what? Why does it look like that? And again, more of the funky hair stuff happening here. The collar on either side doesn't even match up. Like the shape of the collar isn't even correct. This collar has a point at this end here on Snow White's left, but then on Snow White's right side, there's no point. It is a complete even slope into the back of the neck. Yeah, why is it so thin? Like my wrists are weirdly thin, but it doesn't look like that. Like it still looks balanced towards my body, and this is weird. And then we have a Tiana piece. This one is interesting. February 28th. This is Ariel sitting with something, Sasquatch? With like what looks to be the Seattle Tower in the back, but I could be wrong about that. The background is so AI. Like we have trees coming out of other trees. Like, is that a tree? There's like rocks coming out of tree roots back here. And then it's really hard to see, but if I open it in another tab, you might be able to see it here. This is Snow White's hand that's holding the cup, right? If you're holding a teacup or something like that, you have 5 fingers in your hand, but your thumb isn't visible when you're holding a teacup. She has 5 fingers visible just holding the cup, right? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know what's happening here. Maybe I could be wrong and it's somehow the angling. It doesn't look like that. Like I love how Sasquatch is wearing a backpack too. That's an interesting touch. You know, design choice. Yeah. And then we have Cinderella and the sci-fi tower in the back. The Cinderella looks a bit suspicious as well. This tower is not standing straight. That's for sure. It's like teetering concerningly. And all the windows are like bleeding into each other. Yeah, and Cinderella is looking interesting. There's some, examples of his artwork to try to solidify to you that this is looking a little bit suspicious, right? A little bit being generous. On top of just selling artwork that has allegedly Gen AI incorporated into it and passing it off as his own, he has achieved the next level of scummery by claiming artwork that isn't his as his own. So we have this tweet by Kendall Hale Art on Twitter, or Kendall Hale, and Kendall writes, "Late to this party, but the guy is a flat out thief. Aside from AI use, he only has 3 card illustrations done for Lorcana, but constantly paints over other artists' cards and their names to take credit for them, then sells it for 300 plus. So this is the side-by-side. This is his painting, right? Where he painted Rapunzel, or Tangled, right? And signed his name on it over the Lorcana card. And he writes, signed by the artist. Does he not know that like the cards credit the artist? Okay, on the bottom left of Lorcana cards, the artist is credited, and for this Rapunzel piece, the artist is Aubrey Archer. Here's another one. Kendall adds, nothing says guilty like flat out signing your name over the other artist's credit. This is the Lorcana card Mickey Mouse Enthusiastic Dancer, and here on top of it, he draws Minnie, and he signed his name on it. Guess where he signed his name, guys? The bottom left, right on top of where Lorcana cards directly credit the artist. So he completely blocked it out with his signature. What? And then this is the artist for that card. So this is the card, and the artist is Vaquel Villanueva, the artist for the Mickey Mouse piece. But apparently James Mulligan thinks it's him. Look, if you're gonna be doing this, painting over a card, put your signature somewhere else, Out of all places on the card, you couldn't put it on the side here, couldn't put it next to the mini, whatever. Directly over the artist's name. That is a choice. He must have looked at that and been like, yep, that's even beyond the fact that you're like painting over a card, claiming yourself to be the artist, and then selling it for like a bunch of money. This is intentional. Another commenter, purposely, I guess, trying to be obtuse, says, it's called a custom card alter, and people in many TCGs do this for fans. You guys are slur and shouldn't be speaking about things you know nothing about. And the commenter, RJ Palmer, responds, then why did he sign his name over the artist credit, Danny? That's the thing. It is intentional to put your signature over here. That was a choice. That was a direct choice to do that. Like you literally also couldn't have put it like a little bit higher. About that wife of his, Emu adds, his wife replied, insulting me, inappropriately citing the argument I had with my mom, and is now attempting to scare me with legal action. Please help me if you can. I am utterly offended and absolutely flabbergasted. I will not let this slide. So the wife, allegedly the wife, Charlotte by the handle Sherbert Lemon 130, they say the original artwork in question, gone over digitally in Procreate, no AI. Okay, but like, here's the original piece. Why was the background changed? There is no chair here, and there is no wonky bookshelf thing going on back here. And Emu adds, wow, these are so much prettier than the AI versions. Why the heck did he feel the need to ruin them? I completely agree, Emu. I am asking the same question. And the wife, Charlotte, allegedly the wife, right? It could also be somebody impersonating the wife, says, that's totally fine to say. Art is always in the eye of the beholder, and criticism and feedback are always welcome. Incorrect and damaging accusations around AI are not, and we take them super seriously. And Emu says, the image he posted and the image I took myself of the work he had displayed at Anime NYC are obviously completely different images. The left, altered, contains perspective issues, obvious clipping, and countless other obvious indications of AI usage. Look at the side-by-side, okay? Left being the one Emu took a photo of, and right being the original painting. The background looks completely different. Here's the crazy part to me, right? Why not just sell this? If this is the original hand-painted work that was not altered digitally at all by James Mulligan, why not sell this? Like, why did you feel the need to then like alter the background in some way? And the wife continues, well, the alleged wife says, yes, as I've said multiple times, the image on the right is hand-painted original. Image on the left is hand-painted original with digital edits on Procreate, done by hand and not AI. Emu says, those are not the kind of edits one would ever make using Procreate. Thousands of other professional artists, including myself, have commented this and pointed this out in the thread. So Charlotte says, I got your email. Thank you. And then puts Emu's email. And then Emu says, feel free to email me with the time-lapse replays or any evidence that there was no Gen AI involved. If it's a mix-up, I would love to get things cleared up. And commenters are saying, yeah, it's 400% him. The wife could be AI too. Another commenter says, if he really has a lawyer, surely he'd know how to spell tortious interference, which is funny. And then Emu adds, his wife is now threatening me legally. Please contact Disney Lorcana, Anime NYC. A commenter adds, he can't sell Disney stuff anyways. They don't play about copyright. Let's see how much AI art money he has, LMFAO. The thing is, he can draw. Like, he is capable of drawing. He can hand draw. He can paint. He technically is a Disney official art. It like depends on how you classify official, but he's made Disney Lorcana cards. He's made like 3 of them though. So not as much as other artists, but he is a Disney Lorcana artist. Has he also used Gen AI in his works? To me, it looks like he has. This is my opinion though. And the opinion of a lot of people on the internet. Sad part is that he can draw and he chose not to. So what Disney Lorcana cards did he draw? According to Lorcana.gg, if you look up James C. Mulligan, which is his name, he made 3. He made White Rabbit, Flounder, and Transform Chef. So this is the White Rabbit card. This is Flounder. And then this is Transformed Chef. I don't know if he was originally good. Looking at these, right? Like these cards look pretty legitimate, but I'm just glancing at the photos, the images, right? That's why it's always like a big what the F, because, okay, so you have hands, you clearly can draw, and you can draw well, and you just chose to not do any of that. Like, why did you make the final choice? Blocked out their names and claimed that he was the artist, you know? Signed by the artist, da-da-da-da-da. The thing is, you could make the argument, oh, this does happen in the TCG community, the trading card community, where people will paint on cards and then sell it. I feel like you just have to know, as an artist who has made art for trading cards, right? For Lorcana, that your marketing is a bit deceptive, being like signed by the artist, and then you also blocked out the artist name, and then you have another card where you directly signed over the artist name to block it. Like, the art was not over the artist name. The artist name is bottom left, the artwork is in the bottom right, but they chose to put their signature directly on top of the name. Like, you know, that on top of the AI stuff is just bombastic side-eye to you. Here is somebody by the name of Nicholas Cole on Twitter who goes by From Happy Rock. They are a Lorcana artist too. They have made plenty of Lorcana cards. Many, many Lorcana cards, in fact. I just thought it was funny because he was just like retweeting everything that Emo was posting. Like, everything about this James guy, he was retweeting. Forgot to cover this. This was another post made by Emo where Emo writes, so he deleted this very blatant AI post after I commented on it saying it was very blatantly AI and that he blocked me. And then found my private account and blocked me too. So sorry, this is the full Cinderella image. And if you look at the full image, it is an absolute what the F is happening. Yeah. Nicholas quote retweeted another post by RJ Palmer, where RJ writes, this guy is also at DragonCon selling AI images. Personally saw him making a $500 sale. He isn't just scamming, he's thriving while scamming. Truly vile work. And then here was a post written by another user, Jesu Medina, who writes, James Mulligan is still at it, huh? He used to steal characters from artists and use them for NFTs. Had to block him back in 2021. That's an allegation. But any involvement in NFTs always gives me like a bombastic side eye, especially if you're an artist again, because it's like, oh no, you know. A lot of my information comes from this YouTuber by the name of Inkwell, who also has a video about DragonCon AI artist. He talks about both Oriana, the artist that has the like graffiti monopoly stuff that we just talked about, and then also James C. Mulligan. So highly recommend you check out his video. I will have it linked down below if you're watching on YouTube. It gets so much worse, guys. It somehow gets much worse than just AI. We have this. I do not like this. I accidentally double clicked at some point. This was posted August 21st. He posted this only like 2 weeks ago. Happy 83rd anniversary to the classic Walt Disney animated film Bambi, okay? His little Bambi drawing, he signed it, all fine and dandy and all this good stuff, right? And look at this. And by the way, for context, this is not a video where like it's his painting process and he toggles off the artwork to show that he painted the background. Okay, for extra context. This is, according to Pinterest, clip art of Bambi and Thumper. You can see on the hoof of Bambi, there's a DWW watermark on it that James traced. On top of that, and again, this was something that was sent to Inkwell, but the person writes, I don't think he painted the background. Copy and pasted, actually, with a slight edit in saturation. That's right, because the background wasn't made by him, actually. The background is drawn by a man named Tyrus Wong, who is an illustrator for Disney and the lead production illustrator on Bambi. It's this dude, the absolute GOAT himself, who worked on so many films. You can see all the names of the films that he's worked on here. And here is a post on Twitter by somebody by the name of Animated Antic in 2020, where they're showing screen grabs of backgrounds on Bambi and crediting Tyrus Wong as the artist. Oh, wow. Isn't this the exact same background as the one in James Mulligan's original artwork that he fucking signed? Okay, it is trace clip art and the background is literally stolen from Tyrus Wong, the guy who actually worked on Bambi, the legitimate artist. So there's more. We have more examples of James painting over Lorcana cards. And again, people have said, oh, and you know, in trading card games, etc., you know, it's not uncommon for people to paint over cards. It happens. People paint over Magic cards, Pokemon cards, etc. That's true. Why does James always basically paint over the artist's signature and then also signs the artwork himself? You know, like there's like a signature here. He's painting over it. Another example where you can see he painted over the cards. And to give him credit, there are a couple where he didn't paint over the artist's credit, which is in the bottom left. But he signed like every single one of these cards, right? Mulligan, 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 Mulligan. A thread on Facebook, Brittany writes, these are so cool. Got the Scar one. He was around here for Comic-Con. That was the first one you saw. Another commenter says, looks like Scar's trying to seduce us. And Eduardo Huerta says, hey, I made that card. The art director for this card was Edgar Patson. James didn't have anything to do with it. So again, James is painting over the card. So again, look, the point that I'm trying to make again is that it's not uncommon for people to paint over cards. And you can search here, painting Lorcana cards. It's probably easier to search Pokemon, honestly, because it just happens way more. Because Lorcana isn't as popular of a game. As you can see, people paint over Pokemon cards. Right? They do that. You don't often see them like sign it afterwards and then claim they are the artist, right? Like we can scroll down all the searches for painted over Pokemon cards. People aren't signing it, selling it, and claiming that they're the original artist. That is where it gets disingenuous. And that is exactly what James is doing. Here is an individual. I just redacted their name because I don't know if they're like comfortable with their name being shown. They said, I reached out to Ben Penrod, the showrunner of Nerd Street Conventions and Twin Cities Con, just told me that James C. Mulligan has been banned from their events for years due to other reasons. I'm seriously hoping he tells me why. The same individual, and this shows the proof of this, where Ben says, thanks for reaching out, but he's been banned from our events for unrelated reasons for years. So they ask, oh, is it possible to know why? Ben says, I'd rather not. But if any other promoters want to ask me, we can talk about it. He's not really a good person. It's a shame because his art hits home for a lot of people, and I've got some of his originals, and he's really good. He'd be perfectly successful based on the quality of his work alone. So this is DisneyFineArt.com. 2020, where you can see it says, please make sure your artists respect theme park employees during the COVID pandemic. We are scared and Jimmy Mulligan doesn't care. Especially as a representative of Disney, he should be following the rules in Orlando theme parks. And there is a photo attached as well. I don't know the full context of this photo, but from my understanding, he's not wearing the mask properly because it should cover your mouth and all of your nose. And you can see a very, very prominent chunk of his nose isn't covered, but it could be wrong, right? In more communications in the emails, Disney Fine Art says, says, we couldn't agree more. Everyone should be afraid of this guy's actions and reckless behavior. Please know that we haven't worked with Jimmy since 2018 and have zero connection with him. His works have been deleted from our site, editions closed out since 2018, and we have zero to do with him. He doesn't have any agreement with Disney that we know of, and certainly anything related to our license, Disney Fine Art, and our company. I suggest you send your email and concerns to the park. We certainly will as well. Another email, I know other people saw him post some anti-mask sentiment during COVID. I had him blocked by then. Previously in person, once he had pinched me so hard, I got a bruise over something very stupid. I tried to tolerate him. Because redacted. Sadly, he is a bad news kind of human. Remember how we hinted at the fact that James has a connection to NFTs and crypto? There is this article, artistcloseup.com, with a blog interview, February 22nd. This, I believe, was in 2022. An interview with James C. Mulligan, okay? They're highlighting his long career with the Walt Disney Company, yabba, 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 you know. Yeah, we go down here. There's just some elements of this that I want to highlight. So here it says, you have come to be known as a top artist in the NFT space, blah, 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 blah. Here James cites, he's really excited about the NFT space. They're in the beginning of this thing, and it's forced him to do his homework and polish up skills. So there's more mention of NFTs, and he highlights here, I'm an early crypto investor, and I've always known that the traditional way of handling currency, blah, 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 would devalue currency. I see crypto as the people's money, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. So we've got his love for crypto, and then wait, I thought this was funny. The interviewer asked, what is an artist's role in society, and how do you see that evolving? James says, I've heard people say an artist's job is to tell the truth. I disagree. I think an artist's job is to lie to us in a way that we want to be lied to. We want to believe Mary Poppins can fly. We want to believe that Monet's lily pads really had that movement and color. I hope I lie to the world beautifully with my art. I just think it's funny that he has this take. I hope I lie to the world beautifully with my art, because the foreshadowing with this is wild, knowing that he's gonna then incorporate AI into his work. Allegedly. I think he did. So I thought that was an interesting tidbit. And then there's some more information that came out, some more suspicious elements in his works. So let's go take a look at all of that before we get into the statement that he made, because James made a statement. All right, first one. This is DuckTales. It is a comic that James allegedly made. That's what it looks like. That is for sale. He posted this 43 weeks ago on his Instagram, November 4th, 2024. And it's for sale at captaincomics.com. Okay, again, the image is really hard to see. It's like really low res, so it's always difficult to be like, oh, this is AI, this isn't, when the image is quite low res. But this to me has some suspicious elements, okay? This is Scrooge McDuck, okay? Another example of his artwork, Scrooge McDuck. This is from the wiki. You know, like the way Scrooge McDuck is drawn, his feet are kind of like that. If he's wearing like a booty or something like that, it kind of straps on his foot like that. Here's another example. If he has a booty, it kind of straps on his foot. Doesn't, you know, you don't have that kind of like strappage going on at his ankles. This is his foot. He's not wearing one of those like boots that you saw in the other image. He's not. So why is there this like cuffing happening on his feet when he's not wearing that shoe cover? That's weird. Also, secondly, look at the fingers. The finger thickness is a bit off. Again, sometimes it's genuine human error. Even if you are an experienced artist, we all make mistakes. Chill. What happened here? What is going on here? Shouldn't all your fingers, if they're curled, look, I don't know, legit? Okay, that's so hard to do this with a mouse. Shouldn't it look like legitimate, with the pinky being the smallest because it's the smallest finger? Why is there like a line here, and then there's also a really faint line here? There's like one extra creasing going on here in the finger. Like an experienced artist wouldn't make this mistake. You would be able to do that. Also, what's wrong with his glasses? Aren't bro's glasses supposed to be like this? It's literally circle, other circle. And the belting is just odd, because like his belt looks like this, but it's not done in a way that makes it look right properly 3D. Maybe there's like a different Scrooge outfit I'm not familiar with, but like this is the one outfit where he has a buckle, but it doesn't look like that. And in most of what looks like Scrooge McDuck's outfits, and I could be wrong, right? Because I'm not familiar with Scrooge McDuck to that level. He doesn't really have a buckle on his belt. There's only that one example where he does. This is his typical outfit. Again, with foot covers that he's not featured with. And again, take a look at the glasses. The nose bridge is there. And then again, not to mention the fact that it looks like he's wearing pants, but he's not. Do we even need to talk about the background? Is this a tree? Is this a palm tree? What is happening with this tree? I too am quite convinced that AI had some role in this artwork production, because this looks so off. Here we have more examples of suspicious work. These are posted to his Facebook page, right? This is supposed to be his artwork, in quotes. Why do they all look very, very different? And I'm not saying that people can't have different art styles, because you most definitely can, but it's just odd to see somebody with such like a defined level of illustration have such varying styles like this. And then secondly, the bell work looks most definitely AI. There's like random hair strands stuck to her neck. which is a choice to make if you drew this yourself. A little bit hard to tell for some other pieces because the quality is a little bit low for the screenshot, so it's a bit harder to tell, but it's just interesting. We also have this, October 3rd, 2024, this week at LA Comic Con. We have Anna from Frozen. The fingers are looking mad wonky. Maybe it's human error. Everyone makes mistakes in drawing hands. It's hard. Her ring and pinky finger are significantly shorter than these other two fingers. So it's interesting. We also have more potential examples of tracing. Here we have this. Let me back this up. Oh, wow. What is this? Are these perhaps one-to-one overlays? Oh, what's this? Directly traced over the renders? And then James C. Mulligan 8 hours ago came out with a statement. Posted to his Facebook page. James C. Mulligan. Hi, all. It looks like I became very famous pretty much overnight. Yippee. Get my word yippee out of your mouth, okay? Don't taint the word yippee like that. Yippee is for all of us that don't trace art and claim it as our own. Due to certain unfounded, quote, your art is AI, end quote, accusations that seemingly came out of nowhere from a young person that attended an anime show I was at. That grew legs. I've been trying to lay low, but I figured it's about time this needed to be addressed. Out of respect for all my clients and friends that have supported me through the decades, long before AI was ever a word on the scene. As the artist in question, I will state definitively that multiple statements made are patently and provably false. First and foremost, that AI was used to create my multiple Lorcana cards. Not remotely true. Wait. Okay, let's just break this down. People were accusing you of selling AI at DragonCon. She was sitting with a really warped bookshelf in the back, right? That piece, amongst a lot of other pieces. Nor have I ever been blacklisted from working with Disney. So those screenshots we saw where Disney Fine Art said they haven't worked with you since 2018 were false. The employee that stated these things deleted their tweet and took their account private almost immediately after making these false statements. I've been awaiting communication from the team at Ravensburger to be given permission to publicly share the layered hand-drawn files of my Lorcana cards, as unfortunately it would be in violation of certain agreements to do so without explicit permissions. Talk about trying to deflect the conversation without talking about trying to deflect the conversation. Again, he's like arguing for a point that nobody accused him of. So my hands are tied. All I can say is I've worked in some capacity with Disney for decades, and my years of work will stand up to these accusations. Though, not strangely, an AI detector which came back showing one of my D23 releases from 2014 was 99.9% AI. A rather humorous but absurd discovery. I understand completely the hatred for artists using Gen AI and passing it along as their hand-painted creative work. AI has its uses, but AI, in my estimation, ultimately will be an incredibly destructive force for society and humanity as a whole. I did not use it, nor have I received any communication from my Ravensburger/Lorcana team accusing me of such. This came from one person speaking on behalf of Lorcana, issuing a tweet, again, that was deleted very quickly, with no backup or even naming the art director they spoke to. To conclude, I have kept on the down low to protect my family, while attempting to ignore countless threats against myself and my family. Just inserting real quick, this is BS if you are laying low to protect your family, because your wife went on Twitter and was harassing the person who made the call out, like grabbing their email, threatening legal action to that person. So, I mean, I don't fully believe this if your wife is out there running around yapping on Twitter like this, but I don't know, right? He is not his wife, so he can't speak for her, but don't think that statement holds merit because of that. But I felt if I didn't say anything, I was gonna burst. If anyone would care to reach out to me with questions, I'm happy to answer anything privately. As to do so publicly at the moment is something I've been advised against. My Instagram is open, my Facebook DMs are open. I welcome professional and thoughtful communication. Looking forward to the moment these accusations can be easily dispelled. Thank you, Jimmy. And by the way, just to seal the deal on this one, this is a post from James's Facebook page, October 10th, 2024. AI's vision of Florida, where we have a three-winged bird, another three-winged bird, and water. Florida is like flooded. Or there's a massive river running through Florida with people driving on it, but it looks like the cars are absorbing the water. You've used AI, no? Complete side thing is like, I do not fault you if you used AI and didn't know it was bad, like Gen AI. And then once you found out it was bad, then you're like, oh shit, okay, I'm not gonna touch it anymore, my bad. You know, like, you don't know what you don't know. But then here he blatantly states, I did not use it. And again, he is completely ignoring the points people are making intentionally. No one is asking if you use AI in the Lorcana cards, okay? One, did you use Gen AI in the pieces that you are selling? Because in a lot of your works that I've looked at, it looks suspicious. And other people think so as well. Like even the DuckTales cover, because what is happening with the feet? By the way, on a complete also side note, there's this like scrunching going on the feet, but why are there like two scrunches on this foot and only one on the other? And you can't argue, oh, it's the angle of the foot because like it's not drawn that way. And this foot is also bigger than this foot, and it's also not perspective. It is literally just bigger. So either you just like, I don't know, your skills got a little rusty, which is chill, happens to the best of us, right? Or you've used AI at some point in your process, not only in this duck piece, right? But in the original callout, which let me show you, this piece, the background. What is happening with this bookshelf? It is literally melting into the background. What about this piece, the Cinderella, that has this random lion shrimp spewing a ray of water out of the bottom left tooth behind her, and the melting skyscrapers in the background? You know, what about this one? Let me add, by the way, that the wife Charlotte, if this is the wife on Twitter, was like, oh, but here's the original painting of the Anna, da 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 da. Yeah, the original painting looks chill and all. What happened to the background? Because why did you change it? You hated the background so much, you went to Gen AI and then changed it and then slapped your original Anna drawing on top. And then also, what about you drawing over other people's Lorcana cards and then claim and signing it and claiming you're the original artist and then selling it for profit, okay? It is that all together that makes it sus, right? If you painted it for yourself and you hung it on your wall yourself, no one's gonna question it. If you painted on it and then you gave credit to the original artist and you were like, oh, you know, I painted on it, but the original artist is so-and-so, no one would really bat an eye either. It's the fact that you did all of that and then you sold it and claimed you're the original artist, that's where it gets weird. Why'd you do that, bro? Just asking. And then also, why did you get kicked out of those events? Because you are blacklisted from events. People have confirmed it. You are also, according to Disney Fine Arts, blacklisted. So that's odd. Right? You can't really make the argument like, oh, like one convention organizer just hates me for no reason and I got blacklisted, but I'm the victim, because you're blacklisted from multiple places. So there's no way all of them have this weird vendetta against you. You must have done something wrong. You know what they say? Like, if it smells like shit everywhere you go, you should probably check under your shoe. This is exactly the point. What about the tracing? By the way, are we also gonna conveniently ignore the fact that you traced Bambi clip art and literally took Tyrus Wong's background art, stuck it in your piece, and then signed over it as if you made the whole thing yourself? What about that? There's a lot of stuff that hasn't been addressed here, sir. There's a thread in r/Lorcana posted by Lunarian Angel, writing, update. An employee of the team behind Lorcana confirmed with their creative directors. They confirmed James C. Mulligan has used AI in his card art. Disney will not work with him again and will most likely take legal action after the events of this week. So these are screenshots of the tweet. The user is now private. Don't send hate to them. Their name is Fee Green and the handle is the Green Nymph. So Fee says, I actually work for the company that makes Disney Lorcana, so I will be bringing this up with my creative directors. We have a hard policy of no AI art in our games, and they will be able to assess further. However, it's very common people jump to these conclusions a lot. And this is about James C. Mulligan again. So they write, update. So I did check with my director and it looks his work is indeed AI. Thankfully, he hasn't worked with us on many sets after Disney notified us of this issue. Disney also won't work with him anymore either, and I'm sure will possibly get their legal involved. And this was posted September 2nd. So there's this article by MSN.com written by Spencer Bakuli a day ago, titled Disney blacklists artist James C. Mulligan after confirming he used AI for Disney Lorcana card art. So MSN writes, after public outcry prompted a behind-the-scenes investigation, Disney reportedly confirmed that Lorcana artist James C. Mulligan had been using their name to sell AI-generated works, and subsequently blacklisted him for doing so. This is one of his Lorcana pieces, The Flounder, another one of the pieces that he's made. According to the MSN article, they don't have a source they link back to, like an official Disney statement or anything like that. It kind of looks like the only reference so far that online you can really see about AI in his Lorcana cards is that Twitter user who states they work for the company that makes Lorcana and that the director has confirmed it. So we kind of just have like one tweet, but allegedly, according to this MSN article, James C. Mulligan is literally blacklisted for using the Disney name to sell generated works. It didn't mention the Lorcana cards. Again, James, what about all the other stuff, you know? And finally, going back into his statement, it's just very interesting. I'm not going to show the comments, but the comments are full of people who are huge stans of him, who are like, yeah, like I've seen your work, I've seen your process, you're legit, man. The thing is, at the end of the day, no one is disputing the fact that James has hands, okay? James has hands. He can draw. He can draw well. He's been drawing for and painting for a very long time. It can also be true, allegedly, that you can have the capabilities to draw and paint well and just choose not to and generate stuff to either cut corners, be lazy, or because you have some massive imposter syndrome or something like that and you think AI is better than your actual hand-painted work. I don't know. I don't know why he would do it. If allegedly he did do it, right? This is again my opinion, but just because you can paint well in the past doesn't mean you didn't later resort to using AI in the future, which is the current state that we're in when we're looking at his works. So What are your thoughts? Do you think he used AI? Do you think he didn't? He most definitely traced because we have that proof. And he most definitely inserted background art that wasn't his into his artworks because we have very, very, very damning evidence of that. And according to those emails, he also has been blacklisted from events. So all of that seems to be true. Yeah, it is messy, bro. This whole James C. Mulligan rabbit hole is a doozy. What are your thoughts about this entire situation? And again, big shout out to Inkwell for a lot of this information. They will be linked down below. Please go check them out because their videos are super fun. So if you like this video, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. Don't forget to check me out on Etsy. I have digital art there for streamers and creators like emotes overlays. Have a coffee with free resources like a free sponsorship guide if you want to make some money. And I stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. EST. Hope to catch you guys there on my streams or in another video. Potentially this one about Chris Coates, aka Roku Star, another very popular convention seller who ended up tracing a bunch of people's artwork and eventually got caught.